What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we are here for another Manchester City video. Today we're going to be addressing the situation around Pep Guardiola and fans and empty seats and all the comments and drama that's going on right now involving Manchester City. But before I crack on with this video, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, you want to help to support my channel, then do subscribe, press that red button, press the bell and put your push notifications on that stride now towards 21k subscribers, less than 700 subs away. So any help towards that would be much appreciated. Don't forget also my social media links, they're in the description below and sliding across at the bottom of the screen if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. My email also in the description below too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries. Leave a thumbs up if you did enjoy this video, and most importantly, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. So without further ado, let's crack on with this video. And this is all stemmed from Pep's comments that have come out after Manchester City's fabulous 6-3 victory over RB Leipzig, which the first thing I'm going to say was a very entertaining game. And then Pep Guardiola has come out and they were speaking about the fact that there was 38,000 fans in capacity, so we're looking at around, what, 15,000 or so empty seats, and Pep has made some comments on that. And a quote from this interview, he said that we will need the people next Saturday, please, because we will be tired. I invite all of our people to come next Saturday, 3 PM, and watch the game, is what Pep Guardiola has said about the attendance there. And this has been escalated upon who Pep Guardiola has been referring to as Mr. Parker. Mr. Parker is the guy that's in charge of the City supporters groups that are in communication with the clubs, who are saying that they were unhappy with Pep Guardiola's comments, that they're adding fuel to the fire with rival fans, is what they was insinuating there, and other rival fans there are poking fun and poking holes at Manchester City, and it's come via our own manager as well, so they weren't happy about that. And some of the fans weren't happy about the tone in which the words had come across and what has been said. And Pep Guardiola addressed this in his pre-match press conference against Southampton, where he said that perhaps there's some miscommunication there, perhaps there's a mistranslation about what he's on about. He said he's not suggesting or saying that he's disappointed in the Manchester City fans. He regards himself as a Manchester City fan, and if the Manchester City fans don't want Pep Guardiola here, he will step aside, which I'm sure a lot of Manchester City fans right now are going to say that's definitely not what we want, and this whole situation has just been blown way out of proportion here, and it's definitely a situation of what's a molehill has definitely become a mountain here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to address what has been said, and I'm going to address some of my thoughts, and like I said, most importantly, I'd like to know what your thoughts are, and do let me know in the comments below. So the first things first about what has been said. So Pep Guardiola has made these comments about his wanting the fans to come into the stadium. Obviously, you know, 38,000 fans inside the stadium there. He's wanting a full capacity, which Pep Guardiola, I don't think, has ever made a secret of the fact that in particular Champions League games he wants them to sell out. He wants the fans there, and there has been previous situations regarding Pep Guardiola where he said he weren't sure why Manchester City fans weren't turning up for their games in the Champions League. But I think that's just a whole topic altogether for another video, when I'm fairly sure I've done videos addressing said situations on Manchester City fans and their thoughts on the Champions League and everything. But I don't think that has anything to do with what has been said and what is happening right now, if I'm completely honest. I think there's other underlying deeper issues here that we can get our teeth into instead. Now, what I found from Pep Guardiola, and I found very interesting, is the initial statement that he'd made to the press. First thing I'm going to say, speaking to the press, he's experienced in England, he knows the press, and I do think the club can be doing more to combat who Manchester City speak to and what is happening in the press room, and who and what is being reported about Manchester City. We aren't the first club, we won't be the last club that, if we wanted to, could put censorship on certain journalists and certain media outlets coming into and having access to the Etihad Stadium, knowing that there are certain journalists out there and certain establishments that will blow things out of proportion for clicks and views and people reading them, and for popular opinion for other fans as well. There's nothing Manchester United and Liverpool fans love more than an Etihad joke, and so they want to chuck that one out there. And the first thing that's happened here with Pep, I just feel like he has fueled with what he's said, fueled what has happened there. And my opinion now, I thought it was an unnecessary comment to make to fuel this. I'm not too sure why Pep Guardiola would make such a comment, and I think Pep Guardiola is definitely right in saying how the thing is coming across and how it's been interpreted are different things to maybe what's going on in his head. Of course, English isn't his first language, so that is absolutely fully understandable and forgivable. But I just feel like the statement could be worded ever so slightly, just to put a little bit of a positive spin onto it. And so Pep Guardiola's comments were, his original quote, "We will need the people next Saturday, please, because we will be tired. I invite all of our people to come next Saturday, 3 PM, and watch the game." So what he could say instead was, 38,000 fans have turned up today. Thank you very much for their loyal support of turning up. Wonderful football fans, showing their support for Manchester City, and their hard work and dedication of coming to this game and supporting the club has been nothing short of sublime. There we go. We've mentioned something positive to go with the fans, and then Pep Guardiola can just extend on that and saying that he's hoping that for future games coming forward that we can get even more fans into the stadium to show their loyal support for Manchester City. Done. There we go. Point gets across what Pep Guardiola wants to put across, and also keeps fans happy as well. That's what I would have said, having looked at the situation. I'm sure Pep, it's a tongue-in-cheek comment, it's just something that perhaps his head has gone quicker than his mouth, but then it's escalated from there, and it's escalated because it's gone into the pre-match press conference against Southampton, and once again, media outlets and speaking with the media, we need to be very selective about who we speak to and what questions are being asked. I don't really understand why the City press room haven't said that any questions coming in will be about Southampton and the Southampton game, and that's it. Anything about this situation, this thing potentially escalating, no questions on it, and any question that is asked, they won't be allowed to come in and ask questions for Manchester City for the foreseeable future. Something like that. And they haven't. They've allowed questions to be asked, and because questions have now been asked, that situations are now coming about this, and Pep Guardiola has said that he's not going to apologise to Mr. Parker for the comments that he's made, and it's further insinuated that Pep Guardiola firmly sits on where he is with his stance on this, of him wanting more fans to come into the stadium. Whereas Mr. Parker, and the comments that he had made about Pep Guardiola, he had said that he wanted Pep Guardiola to stick to coaching rather than commenting about Manchester City fans and their situations and why they weren't coming to this midweek game against RB Leipzig, which I'll throw out there right now. There's a whole numerous amounts of reasons as to why fans didn't turn up for that game, and it's not always just to do with price. Sometimes it's just a situational thing. It's a midweek game in the middle of September. That's why fans haven't turned up. Sometimes it will be to do with price. Sometimes it will be doing with the fact that fans are prioritising. It isn't cheap following Manchester City. And some fans will be thinking, actually, there's other games, like the Southampton game, that they'd rather spend their money on to go and watch Manchester City. It's also a UEFA Champions League first game in the group. It's not, no offence to RB Leipzig when I say this, but they're not the most desirable team for us to face in that group. We've got a PSG game coming up at the Etihad Stadium, where I can guarantee right now that that will sell out, and it'll sell out because there's players there that a lot of neutrals will want to come to the stadium, who will fill them empty seats for Manchester City, because they get a chance to see players like Sergio Ramos, Lionel Messi, Neymar, Kylian Mbappe, etc., going up against Ederson, Kevin De Bruyne, Kyle Walker, Phil Foden, Gabriel Jesus, etc. And that's what fans are paying money for. They want to see this. And so they prioritise. They do. They prioritise. They say, would I rather go to this game or that game? Do I want to do this? Do I want to do that? And when it's fallen to it, quite frankly, fans have decided that some of them don't want to go to the game. And like I said before, with what I just said, I would have thanked them 38,000 fans for turning up, because not a lot has been made about the fact that 38,000 fans have turned up for Manchester City's game there. And I do, a lot of people have gone out of their way to go to that game, and I do believe that they deserve to be thanked. So it would have been nice to have seen Pep Guardiola thank them. However, I do also think that Pep Guardiola has a valid point. Man City play some fantastic football, and I'm sure Pep Guardiola, for the amount of work and dedication that's going into the club, that he'll want fans to come into the stadium to watch the game and be entertained. There was 9 goals against RB Leipzig, and I don't think if there's anything else that would encourage fans to come into the Etihad Stadium would be that knowing that the fact that they're going to be in for an entertaining game. Now, the problem that we're hitting here is I just don't think there is a simple solution. There's a whole manner of things as to why people aren't turning up. Don't get me started on the ticket fiasco and the fact they're not issuing out paper tickets, they're not putting out membership cards, season cards, and things like that. They're just doing everything electronically. There's an array amount of fans outside the stadium at kickoff and past kickoff, and that shouldn't be the case. And so I think it's putting off some fans from coming, and then situations need to be sorted out. Now, I do feel like these comments that are made by Pep, these comments that are made by the supporters group, I just feel like it could be all sorted in a meeting room, speaking with each other, rather than doing things publicly, because to me, a little bit, it comes across as unprofessional, not just from Manchester City and Pep Guardiola, but it's coming across from the supporters groups as well. We don't need public statements stating this, stating that, stating this, stating that. It can be sorted behind closed doors, and then when sorted, can be communicated across to the Manchester City community, rather than doing things like this, because at the moment, you just sense there's a bit of a ridge, the tensions are very high, unnecessarily high, and things have been escalated when they should have been de-escalated. And it'd be very interesting to see where we go from here. Now, the only other point I want to make here is I didn't quite get why Pep Guardiola was saying the players are going to be tired, so on Saturday wanted the fans to turn up for the Southampton game, when I can already guarantee right now there's going to be 50,000 plus fans for the Southampton game, because it's firstly a weekend game on a Saturday 3 PM, a lot more accessible for a lot more people, people that have families, for example, and that is a lot of people, by the way, and people do have other commitments as well, well, it's just a fact, it's a weekend, so more people will have time off at the weekend than they will during the working week, and so more people are likely to turn up. It's also a Premier League game, and so people are going to turn up, so I didn't quite get the game there, because the game might not sell out, but it will be certainly very close to being sold out against Southampton, and any Premier League game at the Etihad Stadium that's falling on a weekend is going to sell well, regardless of who we're going up against. So I don't know, there's definitely some miscommunications there. I certainly think that all sides could have managed what they have said better, and I just feel like everything should be sorted out privately, because this is all now out in the open, in the public, and people will be using it to try and poke holes at Manchester City. And if I was in charge at Manchester City, certainly if it's people in a professional capacity, working for the media or the media outlets, the press or whatever, and journalists coming in, anyone that's saying anything negative or answering this, or, you know what I mean, saying this and saying that, I just wouldn't let them in. Simple as that. Why allow the situation to be escalated further forward? Because right now, whilst Manchester City do well off the field over the last couple of seasons, people are always going to look to try and poke holes. They haven't got anything to poke holes at, so they see empty seats, they go for that, because it's clickbait, it's simple, it's easy for people to go at, and it's just very frustrating from a City point of view, and it's pretty sad to seeing that the Manchester City manager having to go and make comments about the supporters group, and the supporters group having to make comments about Pep. Yeah. Do it privately, get into a meeting room, get it all sorted, get everything thrashed out there rather than out in the open. You know, not everything has to be out in the open for everybody to see. I'm hoping, upon reflection here from everybody involved, that we can all close this chapter off, move on, get things back on field, get things back the way that they should be, with Manchester City continuing to be a fantastic football team. We can get the fans into the stadium, and as time goes on we can go from there as well. So the only other point I want to make about this video before I end the video is I also think there's a little bit of a underestimation about the impact that COVID's having, not just with people not having work or not being paid as much. Some people have been put on furlough, some people have been made redundant, they've lost their jobs, and things have happened and stuff, and people have been a bit safer with their money. There's also the impact of some fans don't feel safe about going into the stadium as well, and so I think naturally it's always going to have an impact on the stadium and its capacity as well. I just think there's a whole manner of things to consider, and there's certainly lots more underneath the tension here about why things are happening and the way that they are. I also think that there's Manchester City season ticket holders out there who are spending a lot of money on their season tickets and coming to Manchester City games, that it gets to a point that if they've been doing it year on year on year, they'll see games where they have to pay extra for, like Champions League games, and simply won't bother. And the situation that we've got, that unfortunately we don't have, like Manchester United and Liverpool have, which is a massive fan base from around the whole of the United Kingdom, Kingdom, and obviously anywhere that's allowing for travel into the United Kingdom for these people to come in and see the games instead, because I know for a fact that at Anfield and at Old Trafford in a Champions League match, they're probably not going to have this problem of empty seats if people don't want to turn up. Whereas with Manchester City, we have a core dedicated support there, and if they don't want to be there, then Manchester City feel like the only way they've got to fill them seats is to put an incentive there. And I think the direction City are looking for is they don't want to put an incentive there. So it's all about getting things right, but I don't think having a go at the supporters groups, which is what's happened in that second press conference with Pep Guardiola, and summoning fans and doing things like that, I don't think it's the way. I'd probably go a bit more positive. Thank the fans, encourage fans, say thank you for turning up. It's fantastic. Let's get an even bigger number next time. Let's get even better with the atmosphere and everything like that, and encourage things that way is the direction I would go. But they're my thoughts. I'd like to know your thoughts. What are your thoughts? Let me know in the comments below. What's your opinion? Supporters group, Pep Guardiola, who's in the wrong, who's in the right? What's your thoughts? What's the solution? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up as well if you did enjoy this video. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. Aiming for 21k subscribers, less than 700 subs away, so any help towards that would be much appreciated. Don't forget also, social media links in the description below and sliding across at the bottom of the screen if you want to go and follow me on my Twitter and Instagram. My email also in the description below too. If you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries, and I'll see you all again very soon for the next Manchester City video. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. I hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.